Friday, Stefania. Hello.
Happy Friday to you and to everyone else
Ye-
that's listening in.
Yes,
Friday.
welcome to Fun Fresh Friday.
We need an intro music, I think. I think we're
I know.
ready for,
Yeah, we
just something
we
that's
need to,
gonna be
we need to have that. We need to have that. We need to have that. Yes, we do. We need to. I'll get on it. No.
right.
So, how has your week been?
Yeah, I've had a great week. I've had an interesting week. A very
Oh,
interesting week. Yeah. So it's been it's I had my cousin over from Sydney, so it was fun. We
yeah.
hadn't actually seen each other for like nearly 30 years.
Wow.
I know. She's only in Sydney. Yeah. So, because, with my travels going away and she got married and had children and separated and
Mm.
another relationship. So we had a lot of catching up. We had a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah.
She was here
Yeah,
for about
I can
5 days.
only
Yeah.
yeah, I can only imagine. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, well that was good.
That was good. So my time was kind of taken up, entertaining her a little bit and doing a little bit of my own thing as well, but it was good. I had a good time. It was nice and refreshing to just kick back and be a little bit more touristy in your own city, you know?
Mm. That is always good. You
Yeah.
find things that you never knew.
Yeah, and you think,
That
"Oh
was
my god."
just right there.
Yeah, it slows you down a little
Yeah.
bit, I think too, when you have visitors from somewhere, um, you're forced to slow down, if you wanna host them around a bit, and then you have some visitors that don't wanna be hosted, they wanna
Mm-hmm.
do their own thing, which is fine. And then you have those that kinda do. So,
Right.
you have to accommodate. So that was my week. And you, Sunetta?
Who, mine. Mine was pretty much work. It was, it was a lot because of work. So but outside of that, that was it. That was yeah, just work and um oh, testing, final test, for Kazaya and
It's coming
getting
up
ready.
end of year, like closing of schools, right?
Yeah, yeah, we're coming to that end of school. Yeah.
When's that finish? When's that? Yeah.
I think it's the 25th.
Okay. Not long.
Yeah. About 2 more weeks, 3 weeks. Yeah. So getting ready for the summer, trying to get all the camps down, the camp that she's going to go to and the travel, Jeff and I's travel.
Yeah. That'll be exciting.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
happening June, mid-June, or
July.
oh, it's July. That's right, for your birthday as well. It's gonna be your birthday treat.
Yeah.
Woo!
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, yeah. And how's the
So,
Spanish going?
oy, muy bien.
What? Oh, hello. Excuse me.
Muy bien. Muy bien.
Mm.
Yes. Yes. It's doing really good. I'm getting the hang of it, kind of the hang of, but yeah, it's doing good. Going good. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Wow,
Yeah.
today,
Yes.
what are we talking about, Zanetta?
Huh. We're talking about, yes, muy bien is very good. That's what it's, yes. Um, we are going to talk about, and a lot of people really, they'll say, well, yeah, I do discriminate, but you'll be shocked as to what you really discriminate against.
Mm, as we go forward.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, it's a hot topic. Yes, it is. So do you feel like you discriminate?
Well, hang on. Don't tell me just like
Before you even talk about the
that.
different things, because we're going to shed some light on it,
Uh-huh.
because the more you understand about discrimination,
Mhm.
the more you'll be aware that some of it you're being unconscious. So as my profession is we always teach on unconscious bias. We all have it.
Right. So let's
It's
let's break that down for people, Zanetta, because maybe some people aren't really aware of what unconscious bias really, really means.
yeah. So
So
unconscious bias is something that we have been listening to, we have been watching, we have been told growing up. And this could be reading books, watching movies, watching the news, seeing it for our own selves, and being told by other people their experiences. So let's say I show you a picture of a guy who is white male, skinhead, no hair, bald, riddled with tattoo from, we call it the sleeve, has a tattoo, a, a sleeve tattoo, earrings, and this necklace that has the spikes. What is your first impression?
well, my first impression used
What
to
would
be,
be
I think,
what would be his
well,
profession
I
out
guess
of just
a profession. Okay, so he'd probably
mhm.
be a laborer,
Okay.
someone who's a tradie, someone who's, got uses his hands, is very, very creative with his hands. So I would, think of that. I wouldn't necessarily think he's a bogan.
What's a bogan? That's a new word for me.
Ah,
That's a new word for me.
that's
Bogan.
a bogan. A bogan, it's an Aussie term, I think, or an English term. A bogan is like someone who's, rough.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like maybe gangster,
Like
maybe,
a hooligan.
yeah, he's from the Bronx, you know what I mean?
Okay. Keep that in mind. Keep that Bronx in mind. Okay.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So, but that's only because that's
Oh,
what
no,
we.
no, not yet. Not
Not
yet.
yet, not yet.
Not,
Okay,
not
let's go
yet.
there. Okay,
Yeah. So
so
those are the things that you would
well, not now. I used to.
yeah.
Okay? So
Just
let's
that.
yeah. But that
So we
the
also
average
have
the average, yeah.
yeah. So we also have a skinhead.
Uh-huh.
Skinhead here are gangs.
Okay.
Tattoo artist.
Yeah.
So if you saw the same person
Mhm.
with no earrings, no necklace that has spikes, but has a lab coat and a stethoscope around his neck, now what would you say?
That he's in the medical field.
He's
A doctor, possibly, or of some.
right,
Yeah.
right. So immediately our minds are like, oh, because there is a doctor like that.
Like what? Tattooed up with sleeves and everything.
There is, yes, with the
Yeah.
tat sleeve, yeah. Um, so these are samples or examples, rebel scientists. So these are examples of unconscious bias. Another example of an unconscious bias is a boss who is looking at his watch and one of his employee is late. He's late again. I'm just gonna, tell him about himself. And so these are unconscious bias because we don't know what's going on or what the story is.
Mm.
So as soon as the employee comes in, the boss tells him, give him his rights, tell him that he's about to, he if he does it one more time, he's about to get fired. This employee finally says, the reason why I was late, my dog just died. I had to take my wife to the hospital. So there was so many events that was going on. So
Mm.
now the boss is like,
Oh, how could I?
yeah, because the unconscious bias is saying he's lazy, he's never, because there's certain signs that we see And we're thinking, he's just lazy. He's trying to get out of it. He's always leaving late. He's rushing to get out. He's late coming in, early to leave. So these are the unconscious bias that we experience. And we do it. We have those experiences that we don't know. But we always get an answer, right? We all, like what you said, I don't do that now.
Oh, I try not to.
So yeah, you try not to now. You try not to do that now. You try not to be biased.
Mm.
But what about when we talk about implicit bias? This is now something new well, it's not new. It's not new to us. Um, but it's new to, the masses because we're not taught these things. So, what about implicit bias? What do you know, or is this the first time you've ever heard of implicit bias? There's so many biases. I'm
Mm.
just choosing two
Mm.
right now. So, implicit bias. What do you know about implicit bias?
Well, I haven't really delved right down that, alleyway, to be quite honest, but
Hmm.
I'm open to hear your explanation.
Awesome.
Mm.
Okay. So you did mention Brooklyn, right? Because he might be from Brooklyn.
Bronx.
Remember, or the Bronx. I'm sorry, the Bronx. Same thing. Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx,
Mhm,
Compton would be California would be Compton,
mhm,
Englewood, Oakland, um, Chicago would be on the, I think it's the west side or east. I can't remember. Anyway, but there's always a place or a zip code
people.
that is implied that it's a bad area.
Oh, okay.
So that's implicit bias. So you've already made the Bronx, even though right now it's really, right now it's really beautiful, actually. So even though it's changed, and even though there's some good people in the Bronx or in in that zip code, it is an implicit bias. Even, yes, stereotype, even in the opposite side, the area code of 90210, we know here in US, we know it's Hollywood. We know that's where the elite live. That's the zip code. So even here in Ohio, they're like, "What is your zip code?" So I tell them my zip code. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't qualify. So immediately the jokester in me, oh, so you're discriminating against us
Oh, wow.
because because of the zip code? So that's implicit.
Mhm.
Implicit bias is something that we we didn't come up with it. It's just common knowledge. Even though it's common knowledge, is it factual knowledge? So that's where we have to, be able to kind of be careful as to what implicit bias does to us. Like with now, the different, the climate, the air, political climate,
Mm.
the racial climate, that's now becoming implicit bias. It's People are now going into that implicit. It's being implied now. So yes, the east side. So hey Renee, thank you for joining. I'm doing good. Thank you. So that's implicit bias. But here is the thing. A lot of the implicit bias is our judgment. We prejudge. Like a food that doesn't look good.
Yes, that's a
It's
typical
not
one.
it's not pleasing to the eyes, right? Or nor is it pleasing to the nose.
Right.
We have now become implicit on our bias not to taste it, not to try it. But yet others are like, oh, this is so good. You just got to get over the look and you just got to get over the smell. It really tastes good. And they're like, yeah, no. So now, unconsciously, it becomes a bias towards that individual. See how it builds up? It builds up, it builds up, and it builds up until it gets to a dangerous portion of biasness,
Mm.
which is what we're going to talk about, which is the cognitive bias.
Mm.
so, so just the cognitive bias. What are your thoughts about that? Because we're gonna really talk about the AI that we're dealing with now, the Chat GPT. You'll be shocked. Everyone will be shocked as to what is going on. Okay, so
Let's just
cog-
go to that right away.
cognitive. What is cognitive bias? What
What?
what what is, if just by listening to it, what do you think about it? What is your first thought of cognitive behavior? I mean, I'm sorry, cognitive bias.
Bias. What's a behavior?
Oops.
Let the cat out of the bag. Well,
Yeah.
cognitive. Well, it's about conversation, isn't it? It's about what's been spoken. It's what's been, if it's been spoken, it's been thought of. If it's been thought of, we
Hmm.
speak it. So we are being biased with our own thoughts, with our own speech.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So that is true. We anything that we talk about, anything that we have a conversation about, it now affects our cognitive ability to judge or prejudge. But here's the thing about cognitive bias. Cognitive bias is information that is given to you
Yeah, well, it's got to come from somewhere, right? It's got to.
at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that was fed to you at a young age, that's why babies don't know how to discriminate until it's fed to them. So you always talk about, you can change your mind because it's a program, which is so true because our brains are just like a program, like a computer. There's two things that you can do to create a computer. One, you can tell it what to do. This is how you're going to function because Apple has a different function, Mac has a different function, and so does Windows have a different function because they were told to function this way. But they are also fed information. So just think about Google, think about Wikipedia. So you can just feed the information. You're feeding the information. Whatever you're feeding the information with these programs are what's going to come out. So if you're feeding information of, we're not gonna go into the AI, we're not gonna go into the GPT chat, which is the AI where you can tell it whatever and it'll give you a whole bunch of information. But don't you know that that AI or that um, algorithm is bias?
Mm.
That algorithm is bias. It is bias towards women,
Mm-hmm. Oh.
people of color, people that identify differently, like um, gender identity. It only recognizes white male.
That's it.
That is it. Because who fed what? Who fed the information to these chat GPT? Now, if you want to Google the, if I'm saying, Zanetta, you're just talking out. No, no, no. There has been a law set now because of two people from the Bronx. The two people from the Bronx, they were tenants, and the facial recognition did their facial recognition, did the algorithm, and the algorithm said that they are likely to commit a crime. They are likely not to pay their bills. They are likely to be in a dire need to where they cannot pay their rent. So the landlord denied their renewal because of that algorithm, because it has cognitive bias. What happened was this, oh, and by the way, what were they? These two individuals, because I didn't tell you who they were. I didn't tell you what they were. What are these two individuals?
They obviously weren't black males, white males, sorry.
No, they were denied. So they were denied.
Correct. So they were of
So
color.
who are,
They were
yeah,
of color of some sort. And
two female African American?
two African, okay, females. And they were female
Yes,
too.
they're female. So what happened was this one young female who is a scientist. She loves, AI. She loves all of this, and she wanted to do facial recognition. And the only way she was able to understand the cognitive biasness of this algorithm. Now, when I'm saying algorithm, that means Facebook has it, Instagram has it, YouTube has it. Any social media that you have, you're wondering why you don't have likes.
That's why.
You're wondering why your video is not going viral. You're wondering why you're being overlooked, because if you don't provide any kind of controversy, the algorithm is going to go by you because it's looking for a certain thing that it's been fed. So this lady, she wanted to do a mirror. She wanted to create this mirror where if she looks at it, it will give her a face of a person who she is inspired to become like. So when she put her face, it wouldn't show. But then when she put the white mask, it showed, and she wondered why. And that's when she started to look into it. And that's when she saw the two complaints, because it was biased. Everything is biased. So now majority of the facial recognition is now banned in some states. It's banned in Texas, it's banned in New York, it's banned, but guess where it's prevalent?
Where?
In the UK.
Oh, they're enforcing it.
They are enforcing it. Yes. So all these cameras that you see outside that you go, you think it's just a camera? No, it's an algorithm. It's actually checking your face. It's actually it's I don't know if you've seen that movie, it's an old movie. It's called Minority Report with Tom Cruise.
No, I never saw it.
So the Minority Report is an algorithm that predicts crime before it happens.
Mm.
So this is what this is doing. There are some teachers that were fired because of this same algorithm, because they didn't fit. They are not white. They're not they are male, but they are of a different descent. They are of a different color. So these are the conscious bias that is being fed, and we don't even know it. We're not aware. So
Mm. Woo!
what say
That
what
was
say
that was a lot of information there. And
what
it's
say you?
well, that's bias in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yes.
I can see where I can be biased towards, my baby. Yeah, but that's normal, right? I'm biased. I'm biased towards females. I'm biased towards my country people, my Filipinos. I'm biased,
Mhm.
but that's understandable. But this kind of bias,
This is control. This is a control bias. This is
it
not
is.
got anything to do with even emotional of any sort. It's just a
No.
total control mechanism or modality to control the masses.
Right. Right. And with this resume, even with the resume, you're wondering why women, you're not being selected. It's because you have the word woman, women, or you have a female name that
Right.
is recognized by this algorithm or by by this AI. Let me stop saying algorithm
We'll
because
be
because
wiped off. We might
look,
get
we might get we might be put in Facebook jail.
yeah.
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 So AI. So it's scanning all of these resumes and it's rejecting women.
So what does that fundamentally mean, Zanetta? I mean, that's pretty profound, deep stuff, really, because we're now going
Yeah.
into population. I don't want to say the word.
Yeah. It is. It is. So, and that's where we have to be kind of, aware as to what's really going on around the world. I used to say, I don't watch the news, I don't watch the news, I don't watch the news. But now I'm careful. I
Mm,
will watch the news. But to the point of, okay, what's going on in this AI world? What's going on in this, in this world of cyber? Because that's where we're going to cyber whether we like it or not. We're gonna, Bitcoin is gonna go, all of this banking is gonna be, through digital. The paper is gonna go away, because if you look at history will teach us that in the beginning we actually used real gold. We actually used real silver. We actually used real bronze. These are real things that we use to trade and to buy, to purchase. And because these things are so heavy, somebody thought up an idea. Why not make it paper?
mm,
It's easier to carry, because if you take a look at your note, because that's all it is, it's a note. It says the bearer of this money, this amount, promises to pay. It's just
play with them.
paper.
Mm,
It's a promissory note, because that's how it was done in the beginning. I promise to pay you this when I get.
that.
So, bam, great idea. Let's start doing it. That's the birth of paper money. And now take a look at what's going on. It's now going to go, um, oh, I'm sorry, it went to card. You really don't have money here. You don't. You have it in the bank. But this card guarantees you that in my bank, I do have that amount. Or the amount of money that is promised on this credit card is how much is in there. But this is just plastic. You no longer carry wads of money, of paper money.
Mm.
You see how the trend is going?
Right, which is being very slight. It's being very smooth. And I guess to, having that card, yes, you are promised, so to speak, the money to be in the bank there for you to
Mm-hmm.
spend, but there's no guarantee that it will be there forever,
Right.
because it's not controllable. You have no control. It's not physically tangible in your hands. And that
Well,
and that is
it's
very
scary.
it is.
It's scary. It is getting to that. We're getting into that era. We're getting into that. So the thing is that we need to be really conscious about all of these things that's happening, you know. With this AI just coming out of
Nowhere.
full force. I mean, in full force. I mean, they've been doing this for a long time,
Mm,
but they finally launched it
mm.
and it's
But
wreaking havoc.
what they're doing with the GPT?
Hmm.
Well, this is my understanding.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
This is a means of gathering information from everybody,
Hmm.
from every area of, because what people are thinking or what people are curious about, what do? They're actually using this like a form of Google. Want to know some information? We go over here. So in the interim, it is collecting data,
Hmm.
real personalized data, because
Yeah.
it'll most of the time it's a question form, or it's not putting information in. They are asking the information, then gathering that and regurgitating it and putting it back out there.
Oh yeah. So here's the thing about the GPT or the AI GPT. You ask it to write a letter, and if you've written a book, you can ask it to write it in the voice of Stefania Pulio, and
Mm,
it will write according to your voice.
wow.
So now there are some things that it will not do. It will not write a love letter
Oh, really?
because it doesn't know love. It can't quantify it.
Of course. Wow. So what's
Yeah.
that telling you? Like, that's to really take a note of, because
Hmm.
I'll tell you what happened to me during the week as well about talking about
Yeah.
AI. Anyway, keep going. So it won't do love letters, and
It
then
won't do love letters. It won't talk about any kind of, like abuse or mental illness. It'll tell you about the history or the different types of mental illnesses or the different things that you can. But it will alert you it'll say you will need to dial 988 or seek help, and it'll give you all these information. It won't do something to um, if it doesn't understand it. It doesn't understand emotion, so it won't do anything that is emotion related.
mm, of course,
Yeah.
very mechanical, very
Yes.
strategic,
Yeah,
very
but you can write your resume. You can tell it to write your resume.
mhm. Yeah,
It
because
will write it.
that's got no emotion behind it. It's got
No
nothing to
emotion.
do.
No. You
Yeah.
can write a book with chapters, just telling the GPT, the AI, to write that book for you. And it will. And it will even give like if you have to tell it exactly what you want. Write the book with this title with Zanetta, Wooden's voice in a genre of fantasy with these characters and this plot. 5 seconds later, there it is.
A book? A full-on book, Sonata? Of what pages? How many pages? Like,
Try it.
really?
You'll tell it how many pages. I want so many pages. I want this. I want that. I want that. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And what is it doing to us?
It's numbifying everybody.
There you go.
It's just totally making us not use our brain, not activate the pineal gland. They're actually calcifying our. Oh, I should be saying all this stuff.
Yeah. Right? It's insidious to even think. So once we all get to that state, now we can be controlled because we're not using this.
Right.
We're
And
not
that's why
using.
we're in the awakening stage, and that's why, so many people are awakening of
Mhm.
what is actually going on and, um, making us dumb. Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
numbifying us totally
Mhm.
where we can't use our own talent. And, if we start following that because it's easy, because we are turning into a generation of easy, lazy,
Easy.
lazy, easy, shortcuts, quick, fast, speed. And that's why the months are turning over, the weeks are turning over, the years are turning over. And what have we done? Like we really haven't done a lot,
Well,
and
well, let's take a look at May. We're already in May.
the fifth month. Well, June's around the corner, another 2 week and a half.
Right. So what have we done? We're almost half of this year. What have we accomplished? Being lazy, letting the AI do everything for us.
Microwave mentality. Yes.
Yeah, microwave mentality.
Well, it's
Yeah,
actually a bit like, the frog in the pot, they're boiling up
doesn't even
very
know.
slowly because, like, that frog feels like he's in the pond and the water's
Right,
just warming up and warming up and warming up to the point that, the frog will be fried or, like, totally boiled to smithereens.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually very sad, and I think this is a time of really being awake. This is a time of really
Mhm.
being,
Yeah.
being vigilant of what is
Uh-huh.
going on, being connected to spirit, to knowing who you really are. Because what happens, I believe, when people are going to go down this road, um, people will actually forget who they really are.
Right.
They will be, and history will be wiped off because they'll be controlling all that. So they won't even know where they came from, so to
They
speak.
don't. They don't. Um, so, you know, there's a lot of things that are going on that a lot of us are not really kind of putting the pulse, they don't see the pulse, what's going on. So there's this thing that's going on in the US. um, Books are being banned.
What? How do you mean
Books are
brand? You can't purchase
cer-
a book? Oh, certain
certain
books.
certain books
Yeah.
are being banned,
Yeah, aren't
and
they?
yet
Yeah.
AR-15s are not.
Which are not
AR
a
AR-15s are automatic assault weapons. You see the logic in that?
yeah.
Do you see? Okay, so you're banning books because books are, it helps your mind, it helps your vocabulary, it helps you use your imagination, it helps you come to some kind of conclusion, and some kind of, you're being introduced to these different characters with these different lives. So you're being exposed to certain um, problems and issues and how they work it out. We don't want that. But what we want is AR-15s because that'll solve the problem quick.
Because they want people to fight amongst themselves. They want to create fires. That's what they're not looking for harmony, peace, tranquility, harmonization. Yeah, it's actually very dangerous. To
Yeah,
say the
it
least.
is. It is. And here's another trend that is going, and a lot of people think, I will forever have a job, and I'm getting to the point to where I think my job is in jeopardy, and that is a EEO investigator who investigates discriminatory acts.
Well,
What
interesting you say.
This is the first time I've ever felt my job is going to be in jeopardy soon.
Mm,
My profession.
wow. Well, I don't think soon, but
Oh, it's getting there.
it's getting there. Yeah. Well, let me tell you what I experienced this week.
Yes, please do. Please share.
So I get a phone call from, I guess it was a sales representative of some program that I had gone in to purchase the book, but I never actually ended up pressing pay, go ahead with it. I must have changed my mind, but I remember the book. So I have this supposedly person on the other line call me, which after the 5-minute conversation I had, which was running quite smooth, I actually was 99.9% sure, just the fact I didn't see him, that this person on the other side was a robot. It was AI calling me.
Wow.
Yes. Now, how do I know that? Because what he was asking me was very rhetorical questions. When I was answering, he wasn't flowing. There was not a flow. You get someone on the line, a salesperson, you feel their energy, you feel
Mm-hmm.
that flow of language, and being very, sensitive, intuitive. I knew that that was not energetically in alignment with a flow of a person. And then right towards the end, he said, he overrode what I said and said, "So we're going to make this appointment. I will schedule it. Let me schedule your appointment. I have such and such a date free and such a date free." Like he was telling me what he had free. And I said, "Well, no," I said, "that doesn't suit me. It'll have to be in 2 weeks' time because I won't be here. I won't be available." And he said this, what I thought was an AI, response. He said, "Oh, I've only got enough data here for the next 2 days. I cannot book you in for the following." No, no, not. He didn't even say 2 weeks. He didn't repeat that. He just told me he had only 2 days. So let's book a time again. Let's book a time. So he's like stuck because I have thrown him off course and said, I didn't say yes, no. I said, let's make it for another 2 weeks. And then I said, no. I said, you are not listening to me. So then I started talking a bit robotic, like this gentleman was, because he sounded very robot. It was a robot. And and that's how it ended. I said, okay, so call me in 2 weeks. And he didn't answer. He didn't know what to say. And then just said goodbye. That was it.
Wow.
So
So if for those that don't really pick up that it was an AI or it was a robot,
right.
they would be forced
Yes.
to make those appointments.
On those dates. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But because something lit up inside me, said, this is not a normal call. This wasn't even it wasn't anyone. I know you get a lot of calls, people trying to sell you things and scam you. And no, it was boom, 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 we're doing this. And some people do fall into that sheep-like, you know,
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah.
This is what I'm being told. This is what's available. I've got to take this. And they
Right.
would have
Yeah.
put it in. They would have done it.
Yeah. Because okay, so let's take a look at what you just said. There are some people that are in that sheep form. That as a matter of fact, I talked about a sheep earlier today. Um, it was like, well, are the sheep making noise? I said, no, sheep are quiet. The only time sheep bleaks is when they're fearful or when they're in trouble.
Right.
It's the only time.
And it's usually because they're in a herd of others being fearful and freaking out.
Yeah, yeah. That's the only time that they bleat. Outside of that, they're quiet. They're very quiet. That's why the Bible says you can lead a sheep to the slaughter and it won't make a sound until it's being slaughtered. That's the only time. So, um, with what's going on right now, I like what Teresa said. A microwave mentality. Monica said making us dumb. They're turning us into this sheep, not in a good way, not in a, like the biblical way sheep, but into a sheep that is easily manipulated. So let's take a look at what's going on. Microwave. Okay. So before we would have, videos that will, long videos, informational videos, and things like that. Now it went to tutorial. Now it's, okay, it's getting short. Okay, now it's this 30-minute video. Okay, now it's a 10-minute video. Now,
It's a 1-minute video.
2-minute video, 1-minute video, and then there's certain ones that you can only do 30 seconds. Because if you can't get it in 30 seconds, because the attention span of people now has dwindled down to 10 seconds.
Wow.
That's why we do this.
Scroll, 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 scroll. And it can't get our attention within that first 3 seconds. You're lost.
And then if you see something stupid or something, what?
And you'll stop.
You stop. Yeah. So that's what's happening. That's what this AI or this algorithm is doing. That's what it is. It is bias towards women and people of color. It doesn't recognize it. It even distorts the face if you're of color and if you're a woman. How about that?
That's not very pleasant at all to hear, right?
No, no, it isn't. It isn't. It isn't. It's not. And so that's why I wanted to talk about, first unconscious bias and then implicit bias. What does it do to us? And then the worst thing that can go is the cognitive bias, which you can look up logical fallacy. It's another bias, but it's almost the same as cognitive, but cognitive is more more it needs to be more talked about, as to what it can do, what cognitive bias can do to us as human beings.
Yes.
Yeah. So for those of you that have GPT AI, know that it's biased if you are a female. Know that it's biased against you, that you are of color.
Well, how does GPT know if you are of color?
There's there's feminine words that we use. There's certain feminine, phrases. There's a certain way that women talk, and there's a certain way that men talk. So it knows this. Because that's what it was fed. It's not the AI or the GPT's
It was
fault.
programmed for that.
Yeah, it was programmed. That's why sometimes it'll be choppy. It'll be like, well, that doesn't sound like me because it isn't you. I told it to write it in my voice. It missed some things. Yeah, because it is bias because of what it was fed, what information it was given. So for it to be used as a tool to hire, fire, um, to use to see if you're going to be a good tenant, a bad tenant, if you're going to be a good person who is worthy of credit, who is trustworthy. We have a long ways to go. You still need that human. You still need that human element. You cannot. So there's lawsuit for this teacher who was fired in Texas because the algorithm was used.
Is there a lawsuit happening? And what was she? She was a white woman.
He
Oh, he. Oh, he was fired because he was
of
male,
color.
male of color.
Yeah. So when I say of color, that means they're not white.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that they're black. They're of color.
Mm-hmm.
So AI doesn't recognize mix. It doesn't.
So, what are we in for, Zenetta?
Um, there is a group of women that is championing um, uh, what are they called? Avengers, Justice League Avengers for AI or something like that. I can't remember. I can't. But they're a group of women, and this one of the one who is leading it is the one who went to Congress and told them to ban the facial recognition because it does not recognize women or of color. It doesn't. And it gives out false
Mm.
identification. So she did a she did a an example of these criminals and did a facial recognition, and the faces that she put on there for this AI to recognize or quote unquote to do a facial recognition were judges, were politicians, and it was saying, identity match, identity match, identity match for criminals. So they all of them were just appalled as to what was going on.
Mm.
Yeah. So there is now hmm, I would say there are now eyes on the facial recognition, but there is no, there's nothing on algorithm. There's no regulatory, no policy, no nothing, nothing. So it will do whatever it will do.
So they kind of got the upper hand on that. In other words.
Algorithm, yeah. So we're
Mhm.
just waiting on that Justice League or whoever they are to do some more, fighting for us women and for of the color.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, that's been a lot of information, hasn't it? Like, information to take in. And for those of you that aren't aware of all this is something that maybe you may want to investigate a little bit deeper. So, really, what can we do about it?
So Monica is, made a state a comment here. I need to stop answering those questions at the end of my application, because there's questions. So when they say race, just say American. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need to say African American. Just say American.
Mm-hmm.
With the name, put your initials and last name.
Rather than putting your first name.
Right. Put an initial, last name. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there female, sex, once a week. I had to put some fun in it, right?
Yeah.
Once a week. Some of you might be twice a week. Some of you might be, every day. but but no, um, uh, gender, refuse to answer.
Right.
Yeah, because when you're applying for a job, you're not applying for your gender. It's for skills.
Correct.
Yeah, they ask male, female, black, not Hispanic. Exactly. Yeah, it's all on the applications. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to segregate those are of the Hispanic. That's what they're really doing. They want to see, because that my like what I said, this is the first time I've ever felt like my job is going to be soon in jeopardy, because there's now politicians here
Mm-hmm.
that are saying you can no longer identify as they, them. If you were born a she, you will identify as a she. If you were born as a he, you will identify as a he. You will not do transgender. You will not. And there's also I think it's in Michigan or Massachusetts, can't remember, but a law was put into place that transgender cannot get medical insurance. They're being
Mm-hmm.
denied the right for medical.
Can they do that? I guess they can.
They did.
They did, right.
They did. They did. The basic human right
Right.
has been taken away.
That's pretty
Basic.
frightening, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Basic human rights. It's been taken away. So this is the danger of cognitive bias, because it started trending. You remember, how it was, well, in the US. In the US, it was showing all of this. It was showing starting from way before um, George Floyd, way before George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
It went, from, I don't know if anybody remembers Rodney King. It was a riot. That was That was scary. We've never heard anything like that prior to, the segregation. Rodney King was a catalyst that just gave us what the future is going to look like. And all of us, including me, I would say that I was a victim of cognitive bias. But
Mm.
now I'm, no, not going to. We have this beautiful thing right here
Of
that
what?
creates, yes,
Don't.
and we need to start using it. We need to start, locking hands in hand, hand in hand, locking arms with our fellow human being who are being erased.
Mm.
And that's exactly what's happening. They are being erased. Not scary.
It's giving me chills all through my body.
Yeah.
Not pleasantly.
Yeah.
Well, really, when you think about it, there's more of us than them. It's just
That's right.
wake up. It's
That's right.
time to
And
wake up, people.
yes, that's why we need to keep on continuing giving out our voice, letting our voices be heard, letting, forget about, oh, I want to have this many likes. Oh, I want to have this many clicks. Oh, I want to have, this, I want this to go viral. No, how about your basic human rights? Why didn't you talk about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Just
We need to
acknowledging
be
how
more aware. Yeah, we need to be
Phil,
more aware.
sorry, good
Yes.
morning, Phil, because it's
Oh,
always
good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, we need to be more aware. Be more aware of our fellow human, counterparts. We really do. We need to have that empathy come up. We can't be so robotic,
yeah.
as to what they're trying to make us into.
Yeah. Yeah. And wow, that's pretty powerful stuff. Pretty powerful stuff. But I wanna
Yes.
really talk about when you're talking about this, because this all comes into tie with I had a very interesting conversation with an author here in Australia, and I
Hmm.
wanna let her know about his book,
Oh,
Project
project
You.
you.
Excellent.
Nice title. Okay.
Um, by Michael Abdallah. And he's a very interesting man, um, into science, neuroscience, as well as spirituality, combining,
Hmm.
understanding how health, well-being, fitness related to energy and spirituality. But he talks about cognitive bias. He talks about this exactly
Oh.
earlier part of his book. And he
Hmm.
book he gave me this book yesterday. Actually, I actually caught up with him, so I've met the author, and he also I've also got the Audible, so you can actually listen to it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna get that.
And really, really good. I think it's a must. It's projected in bite sizes, exactly, you know, a lot of the stuff that we talk about in general
Hmm. Hmm.
is is in that book, but he breaks it down and he yeah, delivers it in a way that anybody can understand it, and you can. He really thoroughly recommends that you listen to it twice, if not three times, because you know what it's like. A bit like Robin
Oh, yeah.
Sharma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah? He's the kind of man that you have to listen to his books over and over, and then go, "Oh my god, how did I miss that? Oh my god, that is." But it's only
Right.
because you weren't ready to listen to it, you weren't ready to
Right.
hear it, um, and therefore, I think anything like that, where everything's about divine timing. So if you
Hmm.
are listening to this video today, if you decided to go all the way down to listening to us now after an hour, nothing happens by chance.
Right.
Nothing is an accident. And I guess what we've brought up today has been going on for years and years, really,
Yes.
from when, the world started. It's just now we are ready to hear it. Some people are never
Yeah.
ready to hear it. They will live
Yeah.
a lifetime and die and not have invested in themselves in any shape or form
Right.
to know anything about this. Whereas there are those that have and are continuing to invest in themselves. And that's what we
Yeah.
encourage everybody to do.
Yes.
Invest in yourself and, really know at the end of the day who you are and your ability, your what you are capable of, what we as individuals are capable of, and that we are a collective.
Mm-hmm.
We are a collective. What
Yeah.
when we look out from our lenses, we're looking out from a projection of what we have been installed with programming.
Right. Right. Right.
That
Yeah.
there's other sides to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like what you said about Robin Sherman's book, you have to listen to it twice or three times, and then you said, how did I miss that?
Mm,
It's because of um, really because of unconscious bias.
mm-hmm.
We don't listen to it. It just the brain actually just brushes it away, but we heard it, and then we're getting into these other things that is being said, and then we're like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And then that's mm, um, kind of needing or preparing, the rest of the unconscious bias, the implicit bias, the cognitive bias. When you hear it again, then the unconscious bias now becomes like, oh my God, oh wow. And then you remove that. You're free from that now, and then you're free from the implicit bias, and then you're free from the cognitive bias. So yeah, I'm gonna get that book. Actually, I'm gonna download it
Yeah,
tonight.
it's a must.
Yeah,
I am gonna
yeah,
show everybody again. This is the
yeah.
book,
Project You.
Project You, and he's
Yeah.
actually creating. Dave has been approached to do a series on TV, an
Oh,
actual
nice.
TV series on this. So I'm not sure how it's
Awesome.
going to be unfolding, but it's about inspire, transform, and empower. So
Awesome.
anyone wants to get that, that's great. And I just want to share with you, Zanetta, that I
Yes.
invested again. I did. I got the book.
Yes.
So
Everyday hero. Oh my gosh.
So I've listened to it on Audible, and I'm about to go into it again, and I'm listening to the untitled author. Is that what it's, unlisted author or untitled author?
No, no. A
Called?
leader without a title.
A leader without a title. That's right. Um, yeah. So I haven't had a chance to really get into that, but yeah, I thought I'd get this so I can follow it through. And there's lots of you know
Nuggets.
nuggets in there that I think are great. And they were having a special. You get one and you get the other one, and you get how.
Ooh, nice.
And I haven't got this one yet, but I got the book, The 5 a.m.
The
Club.
5 a.m. club. Yes. That has now become a lifestyle. The
Yes.
5 a.m. club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, me
It's a
too.
movement.
It's
It's
a
a
movement.
movement. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has become a movement. Yeah.
Own your morning and elevate your life. I love that. And it's all about owning your life, owning and
Yes.
elevating your life.
Mm-hmm.
We have the control. We are in control. And as I was speaking to Michael yesterday too, he was just so inspirational that everything we need, everything that we desire, and we are so used to looking externally and going outsourcing, it's all within us,
Internal. It's all
internal.
us.
And
It's in us.
we are not being conditioned or programmed or um, taught how
Mm-hmm.
to go within and get those resources. We are now, like what everything that's happening with the AI and control, we are having to rely on external forces, external
Right.
um, environments, which that's where they will have over us, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
And that's what they want because
Mm-hmm.
everybody out there listening, just if I can blurt it out, you are much stronger than you think you are. Can you
So much.
imagine? Imagine,
So much.
imagine.
So much stronger.
And if you can just digest that in little bite sizes. What
Right.
if? I wonder what could happen if I tried, or, just really play with the imagination and
Yeah.
then just allow it to just unfold.
Yeah.
You don't need everything else. That's
No.
all this external stuff that's been offered to us, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
You really don't. And let me just, piggyback on what you're saying. We have it in us, and you're in control. And um, just think back to a time where you thought you were going to lose your mind. Just think back. But today, here you are, strong as ever,
Mhm.
you know, more resilient than ever, able to get up in the morning. You know how hard it is for someone who has anxiety, who has depression, who has all these mental illness, who has these physical illness, have the desire to get up in the morning. That right there is courageous. That right there is so much strength. That right there is just hero quality.
'Cause not everybody can do it, and,
Yeah.
not everybody can't do it. Everybody can. No one
Yes.
Not everybody
If they
allows
want
themselves.
to. Yeah.
Yeah,
They have the desire to.
right. Give
Just as long
yourself
as you have the
permission.
desire.
Yeah, give yourself permission
Yeah.
and say,
That's
"Yes,
it.
yes, yes." So, yeah, this has been a great, great topic, Zanetta. Thank you for really bringing this up. You've
Yeah.
really shed some light on a lot of things that are happening right now. And we just say, take the time to think about it. Take the time to
Hmm.
do a little bit of research. Take a time to actually sit with it within yourself and
Yeah.
really allow yourself
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
evolve.
Yes.
Give yourself the chance of and wondering, well, what if I just allow myself, what could happen? What are the opportunities? What could
Yeah.
transpire from it?
Yeah. I mean, and here's a proof, because sometimes we need proof, right? We do need proof.
Mhm.
And all of the what ifs. What if I do this? Um, just about a couple of years ago, you had this traumatic event, and you did the what if, and you're here today. So that's just one event. Let's talk about childhood all the way to now. How many what ifs did you do? What if I severed this relationship? I know I'm going to hurt, but I'm going to be better. And you got better.
Mhm.
I'm going to have to leave this, this job because it's killing me. And you left the job and you became a better person and you're stronger. um, you went and took a chance on this individual because your heart was so broken and so shattered, and your trust level is at a very low, but you took a chance on this one individual, and your life is that much better
Mhm.
because you took that chance. So if you take a look at yourself, don't look at anybody else, take a look at yourself and see the many accomplishments, the many hurdles that you have overcome, the many trials that you have triumphed over.
Mhm. Mhm. And not only look at them, but celebrate them. Actually take the
Yes.
time to pat on yourself on the back and pick yourself up. Do whatever it takes to really
Right.
celebrate,
Yeah.
um,
Yes.
because that in itself is so empowering for yourself,
So empowering.
involvement
Yeah.
and growing. So I think it's all wonderful, with everything. Nothing is by chance, nothing's an accident. Even the experiences, we want to title them bad, good, or indifferent, they've all served us. They've all been what we needed to be where we are right now. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. The Lord has, yes, He has. Yes. And when we talk about the inner you, because here the answer is inside of you.
Mm.
Guess what? Who are we made in the image of and the likeness of? Now, this is me, this is my belief. Please don't bombard me with all of that. Well, this is me. I, you know, yeah, I'm made in the image and the likeness of God. Therefore,
Mhm.
comma, I am able and capable
Correct.
to go leaps and bounds.
Because there,
Yeah.
there in itself, we are looking upon the Lord,
Hmm.
and that He did it, and He gives us, the grace and the energy and the strength and everything. But that God-like image is in us. We came from that. We
Hmm.
we don't need to still look external.
It's
God,
internal.
it's internal. So the Lord
Yeah. That's
Jesus
who
did
made
all
us.
this
Yeah.
on this earth, but He was here to teach us. Tap
Yeah.
into your own self.
Right.
I've got it. You're looking at me, but you've got it too.
Exactly.
Don't know you have got it.
Right.
Right? So
Right.
I think
Right.
that's also important, because sometimes, correct me if I'm wrong, we can get lost in the whole, church, Jesus Christ,
Exactly.
that it's, without Him, I can't do it. Well, no, He's been the one that gave
That
us,
equipped you.
equipped us, yeah, and gave us the examples and showed us the pathways. But
Yeah.
wherever He got His source from, we get it just the same.
Just the same.
Just the same.
Yes.
The more we tap into it, the more, stronger and empowered we become.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely, great stuff. And it's natural,
Yeah.
and it's yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it.
Love it. Love it.
And it's really funny because, here we are talking like this, right? But we too were were we too were we
Hmm.
were exactly where you are right now. For
Right.
those of you out there that may be thinking, it's a whole lot of baloney. What I mean, it just doesn't make sense what they're saying. Well, no, I felt that. I don't know about you, Zanetta, but I was
Yeah.
like years ago
Yeah. Me
before
too.
I woke up.
Right.
And now I'm talking the same language as what I was hearing years ago, and being, I guess, the light for others
Hmm.
to, wake up. And then some people wake up earlier in life, some people wake up later in life, some people
Right.
don't wake up, and our goal is just to put the message out there, ask you to just allow yourselves the opportunity of, you know, exploring what
Hmm.
comes of
Yes.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So great stuff. All right.
Great stuff. Ooh,
Hour and
an
18
hour and 18 minutes. Gosh, I didn't know we're that. Sorry.
We just do what we do. But yeah, thank you, Zanetta.
You're welcome. Thank you for all of those that joined in and um, you know put their little comments in. Thank you so much. Your input is very valued to us. We thank you. And for those that watch on Troll Time, we love you too.
Yes, of course, we do. We do. And yeah, please put hashtag replay if you are watching on the replay.
Yes.
Leave your comments. Don't feel like you can't, because this is open for discussion for everybody,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes. Yes, it is.
Yes. So great stuff. Great stuff. I actually won't be here next week, Zanetta. Just remembered.
I won't either.
Oh, okay. Where are you going?
Yeah. We're going on a trip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. So we will be back in a fortnight, right?
Yes.
Does that
Yes.
mean 4 weeks?
No.
Oh, because I
No. You said fortnight, so
Fort
I just
Oh, yeah, okay. Do you use fortnight? Is that a terminology you use? You probably just say 2 weeks. In
yeah, we say 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah,
It's an English thing. So, we'll be back in 2 weeks.
on the 19th,
Yes, on Fun Fresh
Fresh Friday,
Days. And as always, we send you lots of love.
and passion.
Yes, and we
Until next time.
bye for now.